Why are there 365 and 1/4 days in a year? What do the scriptures say? Have you ever wondered why the calendar year is composed of 365 and a quarter of days? Scientifically, there are 365.24219 days, or approximately 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 45 seconds a tropical year, or solar year. In the scientific community, this is how long it takes for the Earth to have a complete revolution around the Sun. While scripturally, this is how long the Sun completes a revolution above the Earth in a year's length, from one vernal equinox to the next vernal equinox, or the Sun's transit from the Tropic of Cancer to the equator, to the Tropic of Capricorn, again to the equator, and until it returns to the Tropic of Cancer. These contradictions of belief will not be tackled in detail in this study, but maybe at some other time. Our concern for now is for us to know why a year has 365 and a quarter days. What do the scriptures say? In Bereshith, or the book of Genesis, during the time of Noah mentioned something about months and days. Bereshith, Genesis 7:11, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on this day, were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Bereshith, Genesis 8:3-4, and the waters receded from the earth, going back steadily, and the waters decreased at the end of the 150 days. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. In the aforementioned passages, the flood commenced on the 17th day of the 2nd month, and ended on the 17th day of the 7th month, wherein they had a total of 150 days, as it was mentioned in Bereshith, Genesis 8:3. Or 5 months, and the months contain 30 days each. Therefore, the year during Noah's time probably could have 360 days, with 12 months of 30 days each. To confirm this, let us go to other scriptural passages, and see whether there had been an allusion, or any implication regarding years, or days of years. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and he shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand, until a time, and times, and half a time. Daniel 12:7, and I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, and when he lifted up his right hand, and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that lives forever, that it shall be, for a time, times, and a half, and when they have completely shattered in pieces the power of the set-apart people, all these things shall be finished. Kazan, Revelation 12:14, and to the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, to fly away from the face of the serpent, to her place in the wilderness, where she was nourished for a time, and times, and half a time. Kazan, Revelation 11:2, but leave the courtyard, which is outside the temple. And do not measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will trample the set-apart city, for 42 months. Kazan, Revelation 13:5, and it shall be given a mouth, to speak arrogant and blasphemous words, and authority was given to it, to act for 42 months. Kazan, Revelation 12:6, and the woman fled into the wilderness, which Elohim had prepared a place for her sake, there she shall be nourished, for 1,260 days. All these passages are related to one another, and some of them are parallel passages, such as Kazan, Revelation 12:6, with Kazan, Revelation 12:14, and Daniel 7:25 with Kazan, Revelation 13:5. Through these passages, we will learn that the mentioned time, times and half a time, is no other than but the 1,260 days, or 42 months, referred on them, and for simplicity's sake, it is just 3.5 years. Now, we can deduce that 3.5 years equals to 42 months, or to 1,260 days. By dividing 1,260 days with 42 months, we could figure it out, that each month contains 30 days. Therefore, a year prior to our present time could have been composed of 360 days. If the scriptures imply a 360-day year, then why do we have a 365 1/4 calendar days today? We come to the conclusion that formerly, during biblical times, there had been 360 days in a year, and 30 days in a month. Presumably, there could have been an event that triggered the change of yearly days into the present 365 1/4 days. What incident could that be? In Hashinith, Hamelachium, 2 Kings, 20, 9-11, mentioned the going backwards of the sun, known as the miracle of 10 degrees in the sundial, or stairway of Ahaz. Hashinith, Hamelachium, 2 Kings, 20, 9-11, and Yeshayahu, Isaiah, said, "This shall be the sign unto you from Yahuwah, that Yahuwah will do the thing that he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps, or go back 10 steps?" And Yechizkiyahu, Hezekiah, answered, "It is a light thing for the shadow to decline 10 steps, no, but let the shadow go backward 10 steps. And Yeshayahu the prophet cried out to Yahuwah, and he brought the shadow on the stairway 10 steps backward, by which it had gone down, on the stairway of Ahaz. In the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah 38:8 also mentioned this astronomical event. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 38:8, "Behold, I will bring back the shadow on the stairway, which has gone down on the stairway of Ahaz, with the sun, 10 steps backward." So the sun returned 10 steps, by which it had gone down on the stairway. The sun's normal operation had been altered by that said phenomenon, thereby adding time to that day and thereafter. This also changed the sun's relationship with the moon, which also had a significant change on its orientation, whereby the moon's 30-day cycle has been decreased into 29.5 days. Rough computation of the 10 degrees. Let us compute the added time, in relation to the sun, through the additional days in a year. 5.24219 days per year, times 24 hours, equals 125.81256 hours. 125.81256 hours, times 60 minutes, equals 7,548.7536 minutes. 7,548.7536 minutes, divided by 360 days, equals 20.96876 minutes. This is the equivalent amount of time, of the 10 degrees, or steps in the sundial of Ahaz. Here is another computation, through the decreased time in a month. 0.46941 day less per month, by 24 hours, equals 11.26584 hours. 11.26584 hours, times 60 minutes, equals 675.9504 minutes. 675.9504 minutes. Divided by 30 days, equals 22.53168 minutes. We remarkably see that the computed 20.96876 minutes is nearly equal to the mathematical computation of 22.53168 minutes added per day, the amount of time added in a solar year. Historical proof of the change in the calendar. This miracle of the 10 degrees, during the time of King Yechizkiyahu, Hezekiah, occurred around 715 to 687 BC, 8th century BC. Before this time, they had a 360-day calendar year, but thereafter, they then observed the 365 1/4 days a year. In the book, Science, Origins, and Ancient Civilizations, by Jerry Burney, wrote about this change, of the 360-day calendar, to the 365.25 days. The author mentioned, that this change occurred circa 700 BC. This period was during the time of the reign of King Yechizkiyahu. If the sun's natural cycle was altered, then why was the moon's cycle also changed from 30 days to 29.5 days? The sun and moon have a complementary relationship with each other. An influence on one will also have an effect to the other. The sun's added hours had affected the cycle of the moon by a decrease on its monthly cycle from 30 days to 29.5 days. The moon's cycle takes 29.53059 days to complete its revolution above the Earth, which is known as a synodic month. If the sun's altered course added an approximate 20 minutes per day, the reciprocated amount of time altered in the moon's cycle decreased by an approximate amount of time of 40 minutes per day. Moon's decreased time computation. The following is a rough computation of the 10 degrees in relation to the moon. 360 days divided by 24 hours equals 15 degrees per hour. 15 degrees per hour equals 45/3 of a degree per hour. 2/3 of 45/3, which is equals to 45/3, minus 15/3, equals 30/3 of a degree per hour, or 10 degrees per hour. 2/3 of 60 minutes equals 40 minutes, therefore, 10 degrees per hour equals 40 minutes. The following is the computation of the 10 degrees in relation to the moon through the decreased days against the solar year. 10.87511 days per year times 24 hours equals 261.00264 hours per year. 261.00264 hours per year times 60 minutes equals 15,660.1584 minutes per year. 15,660.1584 minutes per year divided by 360 days equals 43.50044 minutes. To simply understand the mentioned computations, the following figures are shown. 10 degrees time added to the sun's cycle equals approximately 22.53168 minutes. 10 degrees time decreased from the moon's cycle equals approximately 43.50044 minutes. Days added to the solar year equals 5.24219 days. Days subtracted from the lunar year equals 10.87511 days. Days added per month per solar year equals 0.43684916 day. Days subtracted per month per lunar year equals 0.906259116 day. Notice that the mentioned figures between the relationship of the sun and moon, the added time to the sun's cycle is approximately half the number as compared to the decreased time of the moon's cycle. The reciprocity of their relationship is shown clearly through these computed figures. What about the event that occurred during the time of Joshua, wherein the sun and the moon stopped? Did that phenomenon also alter the time and the calendar? Let us read that said passage. Joshua 10:12-13. Then spoke Joshua to Yahuwah in the day when Yahuwah delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still on Gibeon, and moon, in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the nation had avenged themselves of their enemies. Is not this written in the book of the upright one, Jashar? And the sun stayed in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down, about a whole day. The sun and moon did stopped during that said event, but it did not change the calendar remarkably, because the incident only added approximately half a day, or almost 12 hours, on that day. The normal cycles of the sun and moon returned after they moved again, and only approximately half a day was added on that year. The natural cycles of the sun and moon continued during the succeeding years thereafter. Not only until the time of Yechizkiyahu, Hezekiah, during the miracle of the 10 degrees, really did alter the normal operations of the sun and moon, and the calendar itself. A further thought, why did the sun and the moon have been the ones that were called to stop, and not the earth? Because, scripturally the earth is immovable, and not spinning around the sun, contrary to what has been taught on a heliocentric model of the solar system. Why did Hezekiah, only have been given the option of the sun to go back 10 degrees, or move forward 10 degrees, rather than to choose for himself? If Hezekiah chose the sun to go back more than 10 degrees, such as 30 or 40 degrees, a whole day would be lost on a lunar monthly cycle, and that would significantly alter the monthly cycle, by losing the last Shabbat of the month. The fourth week of the month would be a day less, 6 working days would remain, without the 7th day rest, thereby abolishing the 7-day week cycle. With the 10 degrees, only half a day shall be lost on the monthly cycle, and the last monthly Shabbat shall be retained. Only during the 29-day months shall lose the 30th supposed day, that should be the day before the new moon day feast. Nowadays, we can only observe the lost 30th day of the month during a 30-day month, now known as the translation day. After the miracle of the 10 degrees, the Israelites, more specifically the Yahudim, Jews, have kept the course of the months, through observing the phases of the moon, to keep track of the months. Their calendar is a lunisolar calendar, which has 12 months, containing a varying of 29 to 30 days. The lunisolar year contains a varying number of days, from 354 and 355 days, depending to the total number of days in the months. Approximately, it is 10 or 11 days less than the solar year of 365 and a quarter days. In order to compensate for this discrepancy, every 2 to 3 years, they added a 13th month, also known as an intercalary month, so that the years will not fall out of seasons. The year with the added leap month, also known as an intercalary year, which is also comprised of a varying number of days, from 384 and 385 days. They used the Metonic cycle, wherein there will be 7 intercalary years, on a period of 19 years. This adjustment is necessary to secure the alignment of the feast days, or appointed times with the seasons. Is there a confirmatory passage for a 13th month? In the scriptures, there is no direct mention of an added 13th month, but there was an account that implies of something like it. In close examination of the passages, we could derive that on the computation of the stated days, there was something lacking, missing some accounted days, if the calculation is reckoned only through a 12-month year. The narrative was in the book of the prophet Ezekiel, regarding the command of Yahuwah, for him to lie on his side for 430 days. Let us examine the passages. Ezekiel 1, 1-3, And it came to pass, in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, and as I was among the captives by the river Kabar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of Elohim. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of the captivity of King Jehoiakim, the word of Yahuwah came expressly unto Yechezkel, the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Kabar, and the hand of Yahuwah was there upon him. Ezekiel 3:14-15, So the Spirit lifted me up, and took me away, and I went in bitterness, and in the heat of my spirit, and the hand of Yahuwah was strong upon me. And I came to the captives at Tel Abib, who dwelt by the river Kabar, and I sat where they sat, and remained there 7 days, astonished among them. The vision of Yechezkel began on the 5th day of the 4th month of the 5th year, then sat astonished for 7 days, bringing us to the 12th day of the 5th month. And on that day, on the 12th, Yechezkel was given instruction to carry out a task, which was mentioned in the succeeding passages. Ezekiel 4, 1-8, And you, son of man, take to you a tile, and lay it before you, and trace upon it the city of Jerusalem. And lay a siege against it, and build a siege wall against it, and heap up a mound against it. And set camps against it, and place battering rams against it, round about. Then you take for yourself an iron plate, and set it as an iron wall between yourself and the city. And set your face against it, and it shall be besieged, and you shall lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel. And you lie upon your left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of the days that you shall lie upon it, you shall bear their iniquity. For I have laid on you the years of their iniquity, according to the number of days, 390 days. So you shall bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. And when you have completed these, then you shall lie on your right side, and you shall bear a second time the iniquity of the house of Yahudah, Judah. 40 days, a day for each year, a day for each year I have laid unto you. And you shall set your face toward the siege of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, and your arm shall be uncovered, and you shall prophesy against it. And behold, I will restrain you with ropes, so that you cannot turn from one side to another, until you have finished the days of your siege. The vision of the prophet Yechezkel came to a close, on the 6th year of King Joachim's captivity, on the 5th day of the 6th month. Yechezkel, Ezekiel 8:1, and it came to pass, in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house, and the elders of Yahudah, Judah, worked sitting before me, and the hand of Adonai Yahuwah fell there upon me. The mentioned passages recount the instructions for the undertaking that was given to Yechezkel, to lie on his left side for 390 days, and on his right side for 40 days, a total of 430 days. The following is a rendering of the days for easy visualization of the account. 5th year, 4th month, 5th day, plus 7 days, brings us to the 12th day. From the 12th day to the 29th of the 4th month, equals to 17 days. Up to the 30th day of the 5th month, equals 47 days, up to the 29th day of the 6th month, equals 76 days. Up to the 30th day of the 7th month, equals 106 days, up to the 29th day of the 8th month, equals 135 days. Up to the 30th day of the 9th month, equals 165 days, up to the 29th day of the 10th month, equals 194 days. Up to the 30th day of the 11th month, equals 224 days, up to the 29th day of the 12th month, equals 253 days, up to the 30th day of the 1st month of the 6th year, equals 283 days, up to the 29th day of the 2nd month, equals 312 days, up to the 30th day of the 3rd month, equals 342 days, up to the 29th day of the 4th month, equals 371 days, up to the 30th day of the 5th month, equals 401 days, finally to the 5th day of the 6th month, equals 406 days. The account of days mentioned, with only a 12th month on the 5th year, is lacking 24 days from the 430-day count. This could have constituted an error upon the prophet Yechezkel for not completing the commanded days, to lie upon his side for 430 days. But, if we add a 13th month with 30 days on the 5th year, we will arrive to a total of 436 days, 6 days later after the 5th day of the 6th month of the 6th year. Therefore, Yechezkel may have fulfilled what was instructed upon him, and shows that the 5th year of Joachim's captivity could have been composed of 13 months and not 12 months. The computations of the added leap month through the decreased days of the lunar year. 10.87511 days per year times 3 years equals 32.62533 days. This is the number of days missing, according to the decreased number of days in a lunar year. 365.24219 days, minus 354 days, equals 11.24219 days. 11.24219 days, times 3 years, equals 33.72657 days. This is the amount of days missing on a 354-day lunar year. 365.24219 days, minus 355 days, equals 10.24219 days. 10.24219 days, times 3 years, equals 30.72657 days. This is the amount of days missing on a 355-day lunar year. Now we know the reason behind the 365 and 1/4 calendar days we have today. The Creator has changed the yearly days to fulfill his promise towards an ailing king of Israel, as a sign for his healing and the defeat of his enemies. And might also, that he could display unto all his awesome and immense power, that he is the only true Elohim, and the only one who can control, and even alter, the processes of nature and his creation. And there could have a possibility that the Creator will restore this change, as what was during the time of creation, a 360-day year, with 30-day months, no more and no less. A time wherein the reckoning of the appointed times is as light and easy, and not like what we have today, lots of differences, in the calculation of time, specifically in the reckoning of the beginning of months and years. May this study have enlightened you regarding the 365 and 1/4 calendar days, and its connection with the scriptures. I encourage you to study further this matter, to rectify your knowledge of it, and also if you are still in doubt. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you, through his Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom Leku Lum.